Hello, my name is William Duval, and today I'm going to be talking about Chapter 15 of the Leadership Experience titled Leading Change. This chapter is primarily focused on how a leader can effectively implement and facilitate change. To open up the chapter, the book provides an excerpt about former Apple executive Ron Johnson, who was hired as a CEO of JCPenney. From the moment he got there, he basically doomed the company and poked fun at the way they do business and the way they did it in the past. He didn't listen to suggestions from stakeholders, long-term board members, employees, customers, basically everyone under the sun. He made employees feel dumb and uninteresting. That's a quote from the book. They're ridiculing them in a lot of public statements and to their faces also. He also ran an ad saying that customers deserve to look better. He ran this during the Oscars, I believe it was. And he was essentially saying that JCPenney suck. And that's pretty disrespectful to the company and the people who shopped there in the past. And he was fired after only 17 months of being CEO. And overall, this is a pretty not effective way to implement change. It was far too abrupt. You shouldn't have taken that tone with customers or anyone that has really been at the company long term, whether it was employees or board members, whoever it may have been. Should not have been acting like that, should not have ran ads against it. And overall, you can't just completely disregard the past of a company or act like your team sucks. You're not going to get anything accomplished that way. If you're constantly telling your whole team they suck and I don't like the way you do things, I mean, yeah, that's one way to tell them that you want them to change the way they're doing things, but there's definitely a lot more productive ways to say that. So he was just doing this completely wrong, in my opinion. Good thing they fired him. But after that, the book continues on by saying change is necessary for any organization to survive and thrive, and provides another example about BlackRock, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to go into that. But it also talks about resistance to change. People tend to have a natural tendency to resist change, whether they're intentionally doing it or not. I don't know, but they tend to resist change. And despite this, leaders need to be agents of change and facilitate change as needed. They need to be vigilant of external threats and new opportunities and kind of keep an eye on everything in the environment around them so they don't get blindsided by any sort of information or anything that can really blindside them. Beyond this, people also need someone who's a role model as a leader. A lot of people seek role models in lives. This is what the book is saying. So that's kind of what a leader should thrive to be. And beyond that, I'm going to pull out the book for this because this was a lot of writing to do. Research has identified some key characteristics of leaders who can accomplish successful change projects, and here are the different points about that. They define themselves as change leaders rather than as people who want to maintain the status quo. They demonstrate change. They behave in employees' capacity. They believe in employees' capacity to assume responsibility. They can assimilate and articulate values that promote adaptability. They recognize and learn from their own mistakes. They are capable of managing complexity, uncertainty, and ambiguity. They have vision and can describe their vision for the future in vivid terms. So basically, those are all the things that are that are being looked for in a leader. That was a lot to write down, so I just kind of kept the book on my side for that. But also, the book also goes into talking about a framework for change, how a leader essentially needs kind of steps to make a change happen. They can't just expect everything to happen at once. They kind of need step A, step B, whatever, if you want to do it letters, numbers, whatever you want to say. They just need to have plans, like light a fire for a charge, get the right people on board. They have this whole 8-step model in the book. I'm not going to go through all 8 steps because it doesn't really go through it past that. But the whole point is you need steps to facilitate change. You can't just expect everything to happen overnight. And another thing the book goes into beyond that is using appreciative inquiry, which is a technique for leading change that engages individuals, teams, or the entire organization by reinforcing positive messages and focusing on learning from success. So basically, it's just learning from your past mistakes, past things you've done, and just keep your head high. Not to really let things bother you or drag you down in terms of failures or anything like that. Just use your brain and try to weather the storm. So, yeah, this whole chapter is pretty focused with just change in general, how a leader can successfully implement it. And that's it. Thank you very much.